Have you ever stood in front of the microwave with a plate of leftovers and asked yourself, is this still okay to eat? You press the button anyway. It heats up, the smell fills the kitchen. And maybe, just maybe, you take that first bite and something feels off. Not quite bad, not quite right. Just different. Now think about this, it's not just about flavor or texture anymore. Because as we get older, our bodies change. Our digestion slows down. Our immune systems don't bounce back the way they used to. And that leftover meal, one you've always eaten without a second thought, it could suddenly become a quiet risk. You might feel a little queasy afterward. Or you could find yourself dealing with food poisoning that takes days to recover from. And the worst part? It doesn't always come with a warning label. Most folks don't talk about this. We're told, just reheat it, you'll be fine. But that advice isn't always true. Especially not in your golden years. There are certain foods that become harmful when reheated. Yes, harmful. But here's the twist, there are also some foods that become even better, even healthier, when you warm them up again. Sounds confusing, right? Don't worry. That's exactly what we're going to clear up today. In this video, you'll discover 3 everyday foods you should never reheat, because they could quietly hurt your health. And 3 comforting, familiar dishes that are actually better for your body the second time around. One of them. It might already be sitting in your fridge right now. So don't go anywhere. Before we dive in, I want to know, have you ever eaten leftovers and regretted it later? Drop a quick, "I'm here," in the comments if that's ever happened to you. Or if you've just found yourself wondering what's still safe to eat. And if you care about staying sharp, strong, and well-fed through every stage of life. Hit that subscribe button and join our family here at Elderly Wisdom Tips. We're here to help you live well, stay informed, and feel confident in the little choices, like what's safe to reheat, for a healthier tomorrow. Let's get started. Let's start with something that most people think is always a healthy choice. Spinach. You made a beautiful spinach quiche yesterday. Fresh eggs, a little cheese, maybe some mushrooms. It came out golden, it smelled amazing, and you felt good knowing you were eating something nutritious. So today, you do what most people would do. You slice off a piece, pop it in the microwave. You eat it for lunch. And not long after, you feel a little off. Maybe not sick, but something just doesn't sit right. Here's the thing most people don't realize, spinach is full of nitrates. Those same plant compounds that make it so good for your heart and circulation. But when you reheat it, especially at high temperatures like in a microwave, those healthy nitrates can turn into nitrosamines. And nitrosamines aren't something you want in your body. They're chemical compounds that research has linked to cancer risks, particularly in people with weaker immune systems or slower digestion. And unfortunately, that includes most of us as we age. Your body simply doesn't process certain toxins the way it used to. Your defenses aren't as fast or as strong. So while spinach may seem like a clean, green choice, it could quietly become a hidden danger if it's not handled right. Now here's the trap many fall into, we've been told all our lives that leafy greens are always good. We believe that if something is healthy once, it's healthy always. But reheating spinach breaks that rule. And I'm not saying you should stop eating spinach altogether. Not at all. Spinach is still a fantastic source of iron, folate, and antioxidants. But it's best served fresh. Or, if you do have leftovers, eat them cold. Toss some into a wrap. Add it to a salad. Layer it in a sandwich. You still get the nutrients, without the risk that comes from reheating. Simple change. Big impact. And it could mean the difference between a strong digestive system, and a night of regret. But spinach isn't the only sneaky one. Let's move on to something most people eat every single week. Sometimes with dinner, sometimes with breakfast. Something that's easy to make, easy to save, and easy to get wrong. Let's talk about potatoes. Now picture this: last night, you made a warm, comforting dinner. Mashed potatoes, just the way you like them, smooth, creamy, maybe a touch of butter and garlic. After the meal, you wrapped up the leftovers in foil, stuck them in the fridge, and thought, perfect for lunch tomorrow. But here's where things take a turn. The next day, you unwrap them, pop them in the microwave, heat them up until they're steaming. You sit down, take a bite, and later that day, you're feeling bloated. Maybe even nauseous. Maybe worse. What happened? Potatoes, when stored the wrong way, can be a hidden hazard. Especially for seniors. When you wrap hot cooked potatoes in foil and store them at room temperature, or even in the fridge if not sealed properly, you create the perfect environment for a harmful bacteria called Clostridium botulinum. That's the same bacteria that causes botulism. It's rare, but when it happens, it's serious. And here's the scariest part: reheating those potatoes doesn't always destroy the toxins that this bacteria can produce. Most people think, oh, if I heat it up, it's safe. We've been trained to believe that microwaving kills everything. But the truth is, some bacterial toxins are heat-resistant. They survive the reheating process, and go straight into your body. And when your immune system isn't as strong as it used to be, when your stomach is more sensitive, even a small amount of these toxins can trigger real health issues. Now don't worry, this doesn't mean you have to give up potatoes altogether. They're still a great source of fiber, potassium, and energy. But here's the safer way to enjoy them: if you make potatoes, let them cool down quickly. Store them in an airtight container. Not foil. Keep them in the fridge at the right temperature. And when in doubt, eat them fresh or enjoy them cold, like in a potato salad made with care. It's a small adjustment, but it could help you avoid something much worse than an upset stomach. And now, brace yourself. Because this next one, it might sting a little. It's something many of us enjoy first thing in the morning. A familiar, comforting favorite. Let's talk about eggs. Scrambled, boiled, or folded into a nice omelet. Eggs are a breakfast classic. You wake up, crack a couple into the pan, maybe throw in a little cheese or spinach. And they come out just right, soft, warm, and filling. Now, maybe you made a bit too much. So, like most of us, you save the rest for tomorrow. You toss them in the fridge, then reheat them in the microwave the next day. Seems harmless, right? Just heating up breakfast, easy, convenient. But here's what's really happening when you reheat eggs. First off, the texture changes. That soft, fluffy scramble, it becomes dry, rubbery, sometimes even chalky. Not exactly appetizing. But here's the part that matters most: when eggs are cooked, cooled, and then left in the fridge too long, even just a day or two, they can start to grow bacteria. And reheating them doesn't always destroy those bacteria, especially if they weren't stored properly to begin with. Even worse, the proteins in eggs break down differently when reheated. In the wrong conditions, that process can create compounds that upset the stomach, or worse, introduce toxins that are hard to detect. That's especially dangerous for seniors, because our digestion slows with age. What your body could once handle without issue, now takes longer to process, and it's easier to feel the effects of even mild food spoilage. Now don't get me wrong, eggs are still one of the best sources of protein out there. They're loaded with B vitamins, healthy fats, and nutrients that support the brain and muscles. But once you cook them, they don't wait around well. And when they're reheated, they just lose too much taste, texture, and most importantly, safety. So, here's what I recommend: if you have leftover boiled eggs, sure, those can be eaten cold. Slice them into a salad or mash them into a sandwich. But for scrambled, fried, or baked eggs, it's better to make a fresh batch. It only takes a few minutes. And that little bit of effort can save you from a whole lot of discomfort later. Alright, let's take a breath. We've covered 3 foods that can quietly work against you if you reheat them. But it's not all caution and no comfort. Let's switch gears, because now, we're going to talk about 3 foods you should be reheating. And here's the good news, some of these actually become more nutritious and flavorful the second time around. Let's dig in. Rice. Simple, filling, and goes with just about everything. Maybe you made a pot of rice yesterday for dinner, steamed it perfectly, fluffed it with a fork, served it alongside some chicken or veggies. Today, you're standing in front of the fridge, looking at that container of leftovers and wondering, is it still safe to eat? And here's the answer, yes, but only if you've handled it properly. Rice can actually be one of the healthiest foods to reheat, when it's done right. You see, something interesting happens when rice is cooked, cooled, and then reheated the right way. It forms what's called resistant starch. Now don't let the name scare you, resistant starch is actually a good thing. It acts like fiber in your body. That means it slows down digestion, keeps your blood sugar more stable, and feeds the good bacteria in your gut. For older adults, especially those managing diabetes or blood sugar concerns, this type of starch can be incredibly beneficial. It helps avoid those sharp sugar spikes and crashes. It keeps you full longer. And it's gentle on digestion, something we all start to notice more as we age. But, and this is a big but, rice must be cooled and stored properly to make this safe. Here's where people go wrong. They leave rice sitting on the stove for hours. Or they cover the pot and let it cool slowly. That's when dangerous bacteria, like Bacillus cereus, can sneak in. It thrives in warm, starchy environments. And it can cause food poisoning that hits hard. So, here's what you need to do, after cooking, let your rice cool quickly. Spread it out in a shallow dish if needed. Then refrigerate it within 2 hours, no exceptions. Don't just stick the pot in the fridge. Use a sealed container. When you're ready to reheat it, make sure it's piping hot, not just warm. Use a microwave with a splash of water to rehydrate it, or steam it gently. You want it steaming all the way through. Handled right, leftover rice is not only safe, it's actually healthier. And the best part? It tastes just as good the second time around. Sometimes better. Now, rice might make sense. But this next one? Most people are surprised to learn that it actually improves overnight. Let's talk about something hearty, soothing, and incredibly nourishing, soups and stews. You know the kind, hearty, rich, and full of love. Maybe you spent a Sunday afternoon stirring a pot of beef stew, letting the flavors mingle. Or simmered a chicken soup with carrots, onions, maybe a little garlic, just the way you've always done it. And when you tasted it that night, it was good. But then comes Monday. You pull it out of the fridge, heat it back up. And suddenly, it's even better. There's a reason for that. Soups and stews are one of the few foods that actually improve with time. When you let them sit overnight, the flavors have a chance to settle in and combine. The spices soften, the broth deepens, and the vegetables soak up every bit of taste. But it's not just about flavor. There's real science behind why these dishes are good for you, especially as you age. When you reheat a stew or soup made with vegetables, legumes, and spices, you're giving your body a second helping of health. Cooking breaks down cell walls in vegetables, which helps release more antioxidants. Those are the things that help fight off cell damage and inflammation. And when you reheat them, you activate even more of those helpful compounds. For older adults, this is gold. Why? Because warm, brothy foods like soups are easy to chew, easy to digest, and full of water, something many seniors don't get enough of. Staying hydrated helps everything from brain function to joint comfort to regular digestion. And when the weather cools or your appetite dips, a warm bowl of soup can feel like a hug from the inside. Now here's a little pro tip I've shared with many caregivers and seniors: if you're making a big pot, go ahead and portion it out. Use small, freezer-safe containers. Label them. That way, you're not reheating the same batch over and over. You just thaw and warm up what you need, when you need it. Simple. Safe. Smart. And best of all, you're never more than a few minutes away from a wholesome, comforting meal. Now, if savory isn't your thing, and you've got more of a sweet tooth, this next one is going to make you smile. Let's talk about oatmeal. Yes, good old-fashioned oatmeal. You made a big batch Monday morning. Maybe added some cinnamon, a few apple slices, maybe a drizzle of honey. You only ate half of it, and now you're looking at what's left, thinking, is this still okay to eat? It is. And not just okay. It's actually a smart move. Oatmeal is packed with beta-glucans, a type of soluble fiber that helps lower cholesterol, manage blood sugar, and keep your heart ticking smoothly. And here's the best part: reheating oatmeal doesn't destroy any of that goodness. In fact, warming it up makes it easier to digest. As we age, our digestive system can become slower and more sensitive. Soft, warm foods, like oatmeal, are kind to the gut. They move gently through your system, keeping things regular without causing discomfort. And if you're watching your heart, your blood pressure, or just want to stay energized through the morning, a reheated bowl of oatmeal can be one of the best starts to your day. Here's how to do it right: store your leftover oatmeal in the fridge, sealed tight. When it's time to eat, add a splash of milk or water. Heat it slowly, on the stove or in the microwave, stirring as you go until it's soft and creamy again. You can even switch up the toppings. A few berries one day, a spoon of nut butter the next. Keeps things interesting, keeps you nourished. So yes, reheated oatmeal is not only safe, it's one of your body's best friends. Now, we've taken a journey through what to avoid and what to embrace when it comes to leftovers. But here's the real question: how do we balance safety and convenience as we grow older? You know, navigating food safety in our later years can feel like one more thing on an already full plate. It's not just about flavor anymore, is it? It's about how you'll feel afterward. Will it sit well? Will it give you energy, or drain you? Will it support your heart, your joints, your sleep? We don't often think about leftovers this deeply. But when you're older, every bite matters more than it used to. Every decision, what to keep, what to toss, what to warm up, can have real effects on your comfort, your strength, even your ability to enjoy the next day. And I know, it can be overwhelming. So many rules. Don't reheat this. Be careful with that. Store this properly. It's enough to make you want to just skip the fridge entirely. But here's the truth, and it's the part one want you to carry with you: being informed doesn't take away your freedom, it gives you more of it. The more you understand what works for your body, the more confidence you gain at mealtime. You won't have to wonder, is this safe? You'll know. And with that knowledge, comes peace of mind. With peace of mind, you enjoy food again. Not with worry, but with gratitude. With appreciation. With joy. So, here's a little something I'd like you to do tonight: go to your fridge. Just take a moment. Look at what's in there. Maybe a container of rice. A half bowl of soup. Some spinach tucked in the back. Now, ask yourself, what will I eat fresh? What will I reheat, with care? And what do I need to let go of? This isn't about being perfect. It's about being gentle with yourself. About protecting your health, one small choice at a time. Because every time you make that choice, to eat something that nourishes you, to listen to what your body needs, to treat your food, and yourself, with a little more attention, You're building a stronger tomorrow. You're choosing comfort. You're choosing dignity. You're choosing to age with wisdom, and with strength. And isn't that what it's all about? You're not just surviving through the years. You're learning. You're growing. You're thriving, in the ways that matter most. So, hold on to that. You're not alone. You're not behind. You're doing better than you think. And remember, every bite is a chance to care for yourself. So, let's take a moment to recap what we've learned today. Because these simple food choices really can make a big difference. 3 foods you should never reheat: spinach, because of those hidden compounds that can turn harmful. Potatoes, especially when wrapped in foil, because of the risk of sneaky bacteria. And eggs, those leftovers can lose nutrients and become risky if they sit too long. And on the other side, the 3 you can, and honestly should, reheat: rice. When handled properly, it becomes gentler on digestion and even helps regulate blood sugar. Stews and soups, full of warmth, comfort, and deeper flavor the next day. And good old oatmeal, a heart-healthy choice that only gets better when warmed back up. Simple, right? But powerful. Small adjustments like these help protect your health, and keep you feeling good, day after day. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these foods surprised you the most? Was there one you always thought was safe, but now you're rethinking it? Or maybe you've got your own leftover routine that works wonders. If so, share it in the comments. Let's learn from one another. That's what this space is for. And if you found this video helpful, even just one little tip, consider subscribing to Elderly Wisdom Tips. We're building a kind, thoughtful community where health, comfort, and smart living matter. Each video is made with you in mind, because you deserve care, clarity, and respect at every stage of life. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. There's more coming your way. Practical tips, gentle advice, and conversations that matter. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Take care of your body, treat it with kindness, and give yourself permission to slow down and choose what feels right. Stay safe, eat smart, and as always, I'll see you in the next one. Take care.